This
is
conference will now be recorded.
set a pause there. Resolution 72 is the cleanup transfer for the treatment plant. There is no financial impact of this transfer, and this is moving monies from certain accounts to other accounts. There is no financial impact and basically clears up the budget for 2019 for the treatment plant.
Okay, are there any questions, comments? As it says, it's a transfer of $70,839.48 in which there's no financial impact. Is there a motion?
I motion.
I saw Steve Charlotte make a motion.
Gotta see your hands, Doug. Gotta see your hands.
Tony Davis, a second.
Doug.
I have a motion and a second.
Doug,
Yes, Randy?
I don't see a committee report.
Hold on.
I sent the committee report separately to all the aldermen. Everyone should have
All right.
received it.
Right.
Okay. Somehow I lost myself.
I don't see a committee report for the first two neither.
You have to go to what Alyssa sent, Tony, today.
Yeah, I got that. That's all 7 of them, or whatever.
Well, actually, I just see a blank.
No, she sent a separate email at 11:34. This is Jeffrey speaking.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jeffrey. Thank you. I see it. Thank you.
Got it.
John, why don't you go on with the next one? I'm trying to get video, but I can hear you all, and I presume you can hear me.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, this is John Toohey again. Next resolution is number 73 of 2020.
There was no vote on that first resolution.
Yeah, we had Steve Shabbat made the motion, Tony,
Alderman
Second.
Davis seconded it. But there was no vote.
no, you're right. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I can't see it, so Andrew, if you could record this, I presume.
I'll jump in, Doug. So
Aye.
that was an
I
aye
am
from
in favor.
Jeffrey, Benny, Tony, Steve. So that's all 4, and then your vote, Doug.
Right. I'm in favor.
So there's 5 votes in favor.
You need to have Kyle call Doug if he can't see.
So we're good with resolution 72. We could move on to resolution 73 while we work out Doug's camera.
Okay, go to 73, which is Kingston Fire Department.
Resolution, this is John Toohey. Resolution number 73 is a similar transfer. It's the year-end transfer for the Kingston Fire Department. There is no financial impact of the transfer. It's just moving monies from the regular pay account to various accounts to clean up the budget.
Motion. He can't see. Andrea, I motion. Oh,
Alderman
good.
Davis made the motion. Alderman Shabbat made the second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Just make sure
Doug,
you're
you're aye.
all the ayes were Jeffrey, Rennie, Tony, Steve, and Doug. We could move on to resolution 74.
Why are these all fucking blank?
Resolution number 74 is the year-end transfer for the Department of Public Works. There is no financial impact of this transfer, and this is John Tui again.
I'm watching the camera for any motion or second, or if there's any questions.
I'm still trying to get video here, and I just,
We're working on it, Doug. I have Kyle reaching out. Okay, but Rennie, is it a question or a motion?
Question, just on the committee report for that, I don't see a 0 for estimated financial impact, so we have to make sure that gets written in.
Lisa, can you do that for tomorrow, please?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's noted by the clerk, and we'll have the fixed copy for tomorrow's meeting. Thank you. Any other questions?
Steve got a question.
Steve?
He's delayed.
Yeah.
You have to wait a minute for him to come through.
there we are.
Can you see now, Doug?
Yeah, I can see.
Steve, we still didn't hear your question, Steve.
Yeah, Kyle is aware of it. So we'll. Waiting to fix that.
Okay, where are we? What resolution are we on? We voted on 73, which was Kingston Fire Department.
We're on
Now
74
resolution.
right now.
You're on
All right.
74, you're waiting for a motion.
All right, this
I
is
motion.
250, budget transfer, $252,834. No financial impact. Is that it? Tony?
Motion.
Tony?
Second.
Okay. Second for Jeffrey. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion,
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 5. All in favor. Okay. All opposed? Nobody opposed. Motion passes. Okay. Resolution 75, Parks and Recreation. $31,443 budgetary transfer, no financial impact. Is that a motion?
Doug, question.
Yes, John.
First, a statement. There is a financial impact of this transfer. The financial impact is the amount from contingency of $31,443.
That's got to be written
The
in there.
balance, the balance in the
Motion.
contingency is $490,823 prior to this transfer.
I will put that total on the financial impact on the official committee report. Okay?
All right.
You-
Again, John,
You hear-
what was the
hear me?
impact, John?
This is John Tui again. Financial impact is $31,443.
Okay.
It's right there on the committee report, Doug.
Mhm. Okay, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. Steve Shabbat. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
I just want to caution you about assuming that Steve is raising to second because his hand has been up for a while. So I think he's been trying to get your attention. So I'm not sure if he intended to second or not.
I texted Steve to see if there was a question to hold on, but I haven't heard back from him. Steve, if you could hear us.
Steve,
check-
raise your hand if you have a question. Raise your hand in front of the camera so we can see. And that's because he has a question.
Okay, Kyle is aware of the issue. I don't know how else to resolve that.
No,
Right
I
now-
understand. I just wanted to make sure Coop wasn't counting that as a second.
Okay. Be aware of Steve's hand because we can't hear him if there's a question or a second. Yeah, I guess you could do this. Alderman Rennie or Rennie.
Could I suggest that the person who makes a motion does a one finger, the person who seconds does two fingers? That way we avoid mistakes.
Good idea.
All right. So let's go back to the previous resolution, Dan. Doug,
On 75, Parks and Recreation, financial impact $31,443. To have Rennie makes a motion, a second. Tony Davis, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Steve, are you in favor of this motion?
No, he's trying to figure
If
this
you- if
out.
you're out in front of the camera, right.
Yes.
Maybe in favor, we could just do this. A thumbs
all
up.
right.
So to make a motion, second, and in favor, opposed, and
Absent.
that's it. Okay. Number 77, John.
76.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 76, Public Works Sewer.
John Toohey again. Resolution number 76 is the Department of Public Works Sewer Fund year-end budgetary transfer. There is no financial impact.
Motion.
Motion from Rennie. A second,
Tony.
Tony.
I got
All
two
in
signs.
favor?
Aye.
Rennie, are you before? Thumbs up is 4. Okay. 1,
Steve.
2,
In
3.
favor.
Steve, are you voting in favor?
I just see 4.
We just lost Steve, so you'll have 4 signatures on this.
Okay. Kevin, is that okay? Can we just go with 4?
Yeah, we still have a quorum.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Yes.
Quorum.
All right, so 4. Number 77.
John Toohey again. Resolution 77 is the year-end transfer of the Department of Public Works. There is no financial impact of this transfer.
Tony has a motion and Rennie. All in favor? Again, 4-0. Opposed? Okay. Number 78. KPD.
That was John Toohey again. Resolution number 78 is the year-end transfer for the Kingston Police Department. There is no financial impact of this transfer.
Motion.
$24,500 is the transfer. Motion from Rennie. Second. Is there a second? Jeffrey? All in favor? 4-0. '79, Community and Economic Development.
John Tui again. Doug, this transfer is a zero financial impact transfer. We record a revenue and an expenditure for a grant that the Department of Economic and Community Development has received for Energy Square project, and we're essentially an intermediary on this. But because the money comes in and goes out, it has to be recorded on the city's books.
It's to restore the grant, right? $305,000.
Doug, this is John Tui again. This grant was now a part of the city's adopted budget. It was but to pass the money through to RUPCO, the revenue and expenditure both have to be in the city budget. It's a wash account.
Right.
Motion.
Okay, motion from Rennie. Second? Let's see, a
Tony.
second?
There's
Tony,
Tony.
sorry, Tony. Okay, all in favor? 4-0, okay? And John, resolution 80 is from multiple departments. Want to go over that one?
Sure,
John?
Doug. John Tui again. This is a zero financial impact transfer. What I did is when I sent out the communications for year-end transfers, I mainly for the smaller city hall departments, I let them know that if they needed assistance with the transfer, I can incorporate their accounts into the transfer I was putting together. So I've done that for a lot of the departments, the smaller departments, and it's all incorporated in this transfer. There's no financial impact of this transfer, and this cleans up essentially all of City Hall's accounts.
Motion from Tony. Randy, a second. All in favor? 4, okay. So that completes the new business, the 9 all budgetary transfers. We can now move to the old business, which relates to Special Policing Committee Commission training. Rita, you want to talk about that? Rita?
Yep, I'm here. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Okay, so thank you, Doug, for letting us bring this back to you again. Hopefully you all received the communication about this with the information for the program that we wanted to submit to you. Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes, good. Okay, so we forwarded information, and let me thank Alderman Rennie Scott Childress and also Alderman Jeffrey Morel Ventura for guidance, for their guidance with all of this and their input in helping us along with this. We submitted information for the Faces Inc. for an implicit bias and cultural fluency training for the police commission. And so we were asking for funding for the police commission. I'm not going to read everything that's on the attachment that we sent out, but basically Dr. Lawson, who was a professor in the Black Studies Department, he would be doing this training. We went over whether we should have a half-day training or a full-day training, and the committee members decided that it would be in the best interest of the police commissioners to do a full day's training, which amounted to $10,000. And that would be for 7 hours. The workshop, after reading over the materials, I think that it would be a good training and a good workshop for not only the commissioners to join, but maybe some of the council members as well to go through that. But you all could decide that at another. So we're basically coming to the finance committee asking if they would cover the fees, full day's training, up to 7 hours for the 5-member police commission, and it would be $10,000.
Okay, thank you, Rita. Any comments, questions?
You have 2 hands up. Alderman
Yeah,
Davis.
Rennie has his hand up.
Alderman
Tony?
Davis?
My first question here is, it says on here for 7 hours, up to 100 participants at $10,000. So are we saying this is $10,000 for 4 commissioners?
It's up to 100 participants. And so anything over 100, the price would change.
So it doesn't matter if it's 4 and police commissioners are 50, it's still $10,000.
Correct.
And
Go ahead.
we're seeing, as right now, only the police commissioners are going to this training.
No, it's specifically for the police commissioners. However,
Okay.
anyone could join it. Yeah.
Ready?
Right, and the idea would be that because it's one size fits all in that sense, we would work very hard to get many more people there to take advantage of this training. So, it could be people in different departments in the city. It could also be people in the school system. We could look into having lots of different people take part. So that would be the advantage of this, is that a lot of people would get the same training, as opposed to one group getting that training, another getting another training, or some groups getting no training whatsoever.
Tony?
I would be on board with this if we had more people that are going to participate in it. I just think right now with this four commissioners at $10,000, awful lot. So I would hope and really suggest that we reach out to other departments, other, like you said, the school maybe, and to get more people participating in this, so we get a buck's worth, if we want to say that term.
Ready?
Yes, I totally agree. And I think,
Excuse me, Rennie, let Rita respond to Tony. Rita, please.
Well, Rennie and I probably were going to say the same thing. I agree with you, Tony. And if you read the communication, the training strongly recommends law enforcement, education, judiciary, corporate, nonprofits, and so forth. And so, our goal would be to invite others and hopefully have them participate in this training, as well as members from the council.
Okay.
Ready?
yes, following right along with what Rita said, I think it would be good too. So if we invited members from different community organizations, they would actually be right there. They would be able to see the training, take part in it themselves, and they would get, what's going on. So I think it could have the another benefit would be creating community connection by having this training open to different people.
Tony?
Good. That's it's as long as we're going to reach out to, other organizations, people, religious organizations, whatever it might be, and just so we can have more people participating up to that 100. I'm all on board for it. Thank you.
I have a concern on this, and I'm supportive of the program. I would support it, but it represents new spending. And so I question whether this is the time to do it. I don't get the sense that this is very time sensitive. I would suggest that we consider tabling this to a future time. Again, I support it, but not now. Yes,
Well, I
Randy.
don't think that any
Rita,
training,
Rita.
I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand, I'm sorry. I don't think any training would take place in the immediate future with everything that's going on right now. I'm glad you support it. However, I would love to have a yes. So when the time does come for this training, we'll be ready to go out and outreach and get other groups and organizations to join. And just also as a point of fact, the commissioners, they're on board with this training.
Yeah, everyone is on board. I understand that, including myself. But it represents new spending at a time when we all know the revenues are going to probably sharply plummet. And therefore, I don't know that it's something we have to do right now. I think we could consider putting this, at least table it for another month. Randy?
I see your point. At the same time, just because we approve this particular spending doesn't mean we have to go out and spend it right away. And I think particularly given the kinds of discussions we've seen going on in town, considering the commitment that we want to demonstrate to this process, I think it would be a great idea to go ahead and approve this right now, but we can negotiate as to when we actually purchase the services. So there's nothing in this that says we have to go out and purchase it right away.
Right, I agree. There's nothing very time sensitive about this. So if we could put it off, I could live with it. Yeah.
No,
Randy.
I think we want to say yes to this now so that we can demonstrate our commitment to this process and the project itself.
Raising my hand.
Steve has a question. Steve?
Just, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. I guess we're. All right. All right. All right, good. Thanks, Kyle.
Doug, Rita has a question.
You have a comment, Steve? Steve, do you have a
Yep.
comment on this?
No,
No, okay.
I missed all the conversation.
It was good.
I need to interrupt for a minute. I'm getting notices from callers that they're not clear on which alderman is speaking. So Doug, can you really be clear when you call on somebody? And if you could also repeat your name. So this is Andrea talking right now. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Steve Chabot.
All right, this is Shabbat, as Doug says. I caught the tail end of the conversation about training. And I agree with what Rennie said. We can pass this, but we don't have to spend it because my recollection from the last meeting is the costs were still kind of up in the air. They were not concrete, were they? This was just kind of a ballpark figure. So we're really not committing to something concrete, it sounds like. So we can pass this through and then talk about the pricing later as we get closer to it actually happening.
Okay, Doug here, recognizing Tony Davis.
This is Alderman Tony Davis. So just piggyback on Steve Shabbat, is this 10,000 and the figure, Rita or Rennie or Jeffrey?
Rita.
So the course that Rita Worthington, Rita Worthington speaking. The course that we're looking at, the training that we're looking at is for 7 full hours, and that cost would be $10,000.
Okay, this is Doug Coop. Any other questions, comments on this resolution? Proposed resolution? I'll entertain a motion. Steve, are you? You have a
Yeah, I
question,
do have one more question.
For Steve Shabbat?
Steve Shabbat. Now, if we vote on this, are we committed to this? Or this does not mean a commitment, it just means we're approving spending money for training. We're not committed to doing it. We can talk about that later down the road. We have to approve money for it before that happens. Correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
This is Doug Coop. It seems to me if we approve this, we are approving an expenditure of up to $10,000. Right?
Yes.
So if we approve this, we are committing to spending $10,000, whether we do it tomorrow, next month, or 3 months from now is to be determined. But we are committing, if we vote this in, we're voting to spend $10,000. Right? Yes, Rita.
Rita speaking, and that answer would be yes. I'm sorry, did you all hear me?
Yes, we did.
No, can you say that again, Rita, please?
I said, Doug is correct. You would be voting for funding for this training that we're proposing.
And the only thing, Doug Coop again, the only question would be when these funds would be expended.
Right.
And
Correct.
Doug again, do we know where these funds would come from?
John, I think that question was for you.
Where would these funds come from? Up to $10,000.
This is John speaking. I believe the intention, I don't have a copy of a committee report, but without another sorts of funds, you'd be pulling it from contingency. What does the committee report actually say? Or is there a committee report?
This is Andrea Schott. I do not believe there is a committee report yet.
No, there is not.
John again?
Yes, John.
So would the committee report be authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract? And if so, if the intention is to authorize the mayor into a contract, I would think that at the same time you want to appropriate funds for that contract.
Rita?
If that's your intention.
It's just that I missed the last part of what.
John, you want to repeat that comment, please?
Sure. If the intention, if the committee report is going to authorize the mayor to enter into this contract, and the intention of the council is to approve of this and provide the funding, then I would think that you would want to do a budgetary transfer at the same time, unless this is some sort of, if you're just looking to more of a, approve it, but yet have someone come back for funding later. But if we're gonna approve it and authorize it so that it can be entered into at any point in time, by the mayor. Once it's passed by the council, you're going to have to move money in order to do that.
Randy?
Yeah, I think we can take it, I would suggest we take it from contingency.
Andrea Schott?
Hi, it's Andrea Shaw. Just question on the training, Rita, if you know the answer. When will do you have to pay the lump sum if it's just the first person participating in the meeting? Or does it wait until a few, like when does the 10,000, do you pay all at once in the beginning? Do you have some participants take part and then you pay after a certain number? Do you know?
Rita Worthington speaking. I'm going to defer that question to Rennie. He actually spoke, from what I understand, you spoke to Dr. Lawson and even participated in part of the training.
Rennie Scott Childress,
Randy?
my understanding is yes, we would pay, it would be like entering into, going to a concert. We pay one admission fee and we get anywhere between 1 and 100 people into the concert. Do I understand your question correctly, Andrea?
Yes, thank you.
This is Doug Coop again. Again, my concern is, and I'll repeat it, I'm supportive of the whole concept, but if we vote this in and it passes the council, we are saying that we're committed to spending $4,000 at a very tenuous time in the city's finances. But if I'm in favor of tabling this, and I would vote no to pass this tonight. Again, I want to do it, but it's tough times, and we're not saying we'll never do it. I said, just wait a while here and let's see how things even out financially. And this same comment could apply to lots of other new spending that we're going to be talking about. Yes, Rita.
Rita Worthington speaking. So I'm not in favor. I know I'm not on the finance committee, but I would hope that it's not tabled. You know, we've been talking about this police training. We've been talking about this for a long time. From what I understand, it's been a little over 2 years now. And, you know, as has been previously mentioned, because we approve it doesn't mean that we're going to do it right now. As a matter of fact, we cannot do it right now, given the circumstances of what's happening in society right now. And so I do think that we need to make a statement in that, because we've been working on this for so long, and we've said that we were going to do this, I think we do need to at least make a statement saying that we're committed to this and we have approved funding for it, and we will be discussing when and where it will take place.
Tony.
Again,
Tony Davis.
This is Tony Davis. Yes, I mean, it's going back and forth. I think this, if we approve it, doesn't mean again that we have to spend it. I understand what you're saying, Doug. In these times right now, you know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen financially. But again, by disapproving this, doesn't say again that we're going to spend it tomorrow, a month from now, 5 months from now, or a year from now. That the money will be there. So then we don't have to go back to committee, have it approval again to get it going. So we can still approve this, but not spend the money right away. I mean, I think that is what you're saying, but that is also what, you know, Rita and Rennie are saying, is that we can still approve this and not have to table it, then come back again. This show the community, like Rita was saying, this has been going on for almost 2 years. It's shown that we're moving forward with this. We can still approve this funding. And again, it doesn't have to be spent tomorrow, next month, 5 months from now, a year from now. as Rita stated, in this climate right now, we social distancing anyway. We're not going to be having any gatherings, large gatherings. So I still say that we could still approve this, and the money's there, sitting there, waiting for when we decide as a council when we're going to have the actual training. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. I understand you, but I differ with you. There's too many maybes on this. You know, we're either commit to doing it or we don't. There's too many maybes. If we vote this, we're saying, well, we might do it sometime,
No,
and we're not saying when. And I'm not comfortable with that. It's not a declarative statement. Steve, you have a question? Steve
Yeah,
Shabbat?
well, no, Steve Shabbat, not a question, a comment. I think it is a good statement if we vote yes here. I mean, it shows that we think this is an important topic. If we don't vote yes tonight, then when we do get around to it, we're going to be starting all over again. We're going to start the process all over again. Whereas if we approve this tonight, that work is at least out of the way. Then we can get down to the business at hand of actually scheduling when we get around to it. But like I think everybody agrees, it's going to be a while before we do this anyway. No matter how we feel about it, I think what's going on is going to dictate when this is going to happen. But I don't want to have to come back in 6 months and start the process all over again. And then it's going to take several months before we get it all approved. And you know, I would be in favor of passing this tonight, so at least we have that on board and we don't have to start over again.
Thank you, Steve. Randy?
I'm ready to make a motion that we pass this resolution.
Okay, we have a second by Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? I'll
Aye.
support it. 5-0, okay.
Thank you, everybody.
And I think that closes the agenda for the, yes, John? Oh, yes, John.
This is John Toohey. As part of that committee report, do you need the account numbers to fill in for that transfer?
Yeah, a committee report has to be created. It's not a committee report yet.
That was my question. Who was writing this committee report?
Doug, Rita, Rennie?
So, okay.
Yes, Rita?
I have a question. Rita Worthington speaking. So since this was a special committee that was put together by Alderwoman at Large, and we were, criteria of that committee was that we wouldn't have any voting power or anything. I didn't know, how far that would go as far as would we be submitting committee reports for this, or would Andrea help me out with this? Would you be submitting it? I didn't know how that process would go.
Ready?
Rennie?
It's just a question of who writes up the committee report, right? That's what we're talking about?
Correct.
Yes.
Is that all it is?
Yes. So I can do it unless, Doug, you want to do it.
Okay.
I think it would be good if Rita could draft it up.
Rennie just volunteered to do it, and he's on the
Sure.
Special Policing Commission. So if Rennie, this is
Oh,
Andrea
okay, all right.
speaking.
He's on the
If
committee,
Rennie
okay,
can write the
then
committee
Rennie, yes.
report. Rennie's
If
gonna
you
write the
being
committee.
on the committee, I agree.
Okay, yeah, just Rennie's gonna write the
Right.
committee report. All of these committee reports will be electronically sent to you tomorrow. So Rennie, if you don't have a copy, a blank committee report, just contact Elisa and she could email one to you, right? And then we can take it from there.
I
Elisa?
sent everyone the blank, I
Yeah.
sent it.
I have a
wasn't
blank
sure who
one.
was on that email, so we're good. We'll have it all taken care of.
Rennie?
John, could you send me the numbers?
Sure. You want me to email you?
Yeah, that would be great.
I'll take care of it tonight.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Kevin Bryant has a question.
Before we move away from this completely, are we are you incorporating any parameters with respect to this 10,000? So is there a number of participants before this $10,000 would be spent on any training? I mean, would you really be spending $10,000 on 5 people, or?
No.
I mean, I didn't know if there were any parameters that were actually contemplated or decided in this group.
Rita?
Rita speaking. So, no, we wouldn't be spending $10,000 for 5 participants. Our goal is to reach out to other organizations and put it out there, and hopefully we could get more, closer to the 100 of participants. So the answer is no. For five people, no. I think our goal tonight was just to get funding, get approved funding for this, for when it happens.
Well, I think we wanted to read up to 10,000. The actual numbers to be negotiated yet. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, okay.
And I would
Okay,
make sure,
Kevin? Yes, Tony?
and I would just include in the language, Rennie, as you're writing up, and that it would include up to 100 participants. I make sure it's in there that it can go include up to 100 participants.
Yes.
I agree. Okay, any other comments, questions on this? Okay, thank you for doing that, Randy. Okay, any other items for the agenda? I think we're done.
Yeah.
Your motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
The motion was made by Tony Davis. The second was made by Rennie Scott Childress.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
All right.
So now
We are adjourned.
We're staying here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, this adjourns the finance meeting, special finance meeting. We're going to be entering immediately into our special laws and rules meeting. Jeffrey, do you have your committee members here?
I can't see everybody on the screen. Can you tell me? I know Rennie Scott Childress is on and Rita Worthington is on. I can't see anybody else.
Alderman Tollerman and Alderman O'Reilly are both on too. I think that's the committee. So
Okay.
I'm just going to Kevin Bryant.
Sorry, guys. I just want to be clear about what's going on. I didn't get a statement with respect to what exactly is going to be put in the committee report. I didn't hear it. I may have missed it. And my question was more about a minimum requirement. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's what my thoughts were, and I wasn't clear whether everybody understood it the same way. So for one, there was no statement relative to what is going to be in the committee report in terms of how it's going to be written. I guess Rennie's going to prepare it, but I didn't get any sense that the language was discussed or a clear statement was made as to what would be put in it. And again, I wasn't sure whether, in terms of number, yes, it can go up to 100. And I wasn't sure based on Tony's question earlier, because he had asked about a range and Rita's response made it seem like I was under the impression that it was going to be $10,000. And so what I'm wondering is there going to be a minimum requirement before that $10,000 is spent?
Rennie?
Well, we could put in a floor. That's what I hear you saying, Kevin, right? You're wondering 100 is the maximum, and you're wondering if we decide, should there be a minimum number of people who take part? Is that right?
That makes sense to me.
I would be happy to say a floor of at least 20, 25. That would bring the cost down to what a lot of these other programs cost. You know, if when you do them per person.
Make sure it's the language is in there. So what are you guys saying? You're going to say it's going to be a minimum of 20 people and a max of 100?
That's what I'm in favor of doing. I mean, if that's what people think is good, I mean, our aim of having many more than 20.
I see my hand.
Doug,
Rita?
Rita. Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that. Fine with having the floor and up to 100 people. That's fine.
Okay. Rennie says, okay.
Yeah, put a range in. No less than and not to exceed.
Just a quick audio note.
Are you okay
for
with
those
that, Kevin?
using- Oh, sorry, Rita.
Listen, I don't think it really matters not to exceed. I mean, if for $10,000, if they want to train 200 people, good for us. But I'm just thinking, you know, what's going to look best for you guys is to make sure that you have a minimum, you have a floor that at least a certain amount have to be provided this training.
This is Andrea Shaw. Just a note for audio. For the folks who are using their iPads, that feedback is most likely coming from you guys. So when you're not speaking, if you could be on mute, that would help some of the static that we're all hearing and when it gets quiet. Thank you. Tony?
when is the caucus? When is it going to start?
Well, we still have special laws and rules, and we
Yeah.
can't start caucus until I have to be in this meeting and start the next meeting. So are you all good to end? We already officially adjourned finance. So I'm going to start up the special laws and rules so that because we're probably making people wait over at go-to meeting. So unless I hear an objection, I'm going to start the special laws and rules meeting. I'm just going to go over a couple of things briefly. This is now the special laws and rules meeting. For those just joining, my name is Andrea Schott. I'm the council president and the organizer for our virtual meetings. There's a few quick guidelines to help us through this meeting. We ask that members of the public and press remain muted for the length of the meeting. As the organizer, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. Council members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise or feedback. If a council member or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hands. The chairperson will call on them before they speak by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners. And it's helpful if the alderman also repeats their name. All of our meetings are recorded. This one is still being recorded from the finance. Both video and written transcriptions will be made available to the public on the city's website at a later date. If you have any audio issues, send a text message to the following number, 845-594-6120. Again, 845-594-6120. As the organizer for today's meeting, I reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting to eject anyone who has behaved inappropriately. Lastly, at tonight's meeting, we have in attendance Chairman Alderman Jeffrey Ventura Morel. We have Alderman Rennie Scott Childress. We have Alderman Patrick O'Reilly, Alderwoman Rita Worthington, and somewhere in there, I thought, yep, there we go, Alderman Don Tollerman. We also have Corp Counsel Dan Gardenstein. We have City Clerk Elisa Tinty. We have from Grants, Kristen Wilson and Ruth Ann Devick Frank. And I think I will turn over the floor now to Chairman Ventura Morel. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Jeffrey Ventura Morel. I'm calling this meeting officially into order. And we only have two things on the agenda for tonight. The first one is the resolution for the Seeker State Environmental Quality Review Declaration for the Deed Stadium project. And I will give now the floor to Ruth Ann DeWitt Frank from the Grants Management Office.
Hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We're requesting this resolution to support our GIGP grant that was awarded from last year's CFA round. It's a $1.5 million grant, and to go to contract with the award, it requires that we have a seeker resolution. So we submitted the required paperwork, and I'd like to just be available to answer your questions at this point.
Okay, on the question, are there any questions? Andrea, if you can please help me, let me know if anybody's raising their hands. I can't see.
I'll call on people, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It doesn't look like you have any questions.
Okay, then the resolution reads, resolution determining the Deed Stadium Green Infrastructure Project as Type 2 action in accordance to 6 NYCRR Section 617.5 C3 and 617.5 C13 of the regulations. Do I have a motion?
Rita Worthington made the motion. Rennie Scott Childress made the second.
Okay, all in favor?
That's in favor, all five.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruth Ann.
Thanks.
Okay, and the second order of business we have is the appointment to the Board of Assessment Review Board. I reached out to a constituent, Philip Bender Timon. He is interesting. He spoke with Dan Baker today, and it seems like we are ready to make the appointment. So I will read the resolution I have. I'm still waiting to hear from Dan Baker when the appointment would end, so I'll have to fill that in before tomorrow once I hear back. But the resolution I have says, pursuant to RPTL 523, appoint Philip Bender Timon to the Board of Assessment Review with a term ending, and that's the date I'm still missing. Do I have a motion?
Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Don Tollerman.
All in favor?
All five voted in favor.
Okay. So I will, yes?
You have a question
Elisa?
from Elisa.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, Jeffrey, that you're going to send that to me in the morning.
Yes, I'm going to scan it and send it tonight. Okay.
Don
right.
Tollerman has a question.
Yeah, just
Yes.
a comment. I worked with Philip Bender, and he's a great guy. He's on the board of Cuba, and he's an insurance guy. Works for an insurance company. Really responsible, smart. So I think it was a good choice.
Thank you. Okay, so that is the end of our agenda. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Rennie motions. Patrick seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All five
Okay.
in favor.
All right, we stand adjourned. I will see you in a minute at caucus.
So I'm going to turn off the recording now. I'm gonna hop out and then hop into caucus.
Okay,
And
so
you have to re-enter the caucus meeting at on a different email chain that I sent to you, okay?
okay,
So I'm gonna do that really quickly, and I'll see you in a few seconds, or give me a
thank
minute.
you.
Bye.
Bye.